partner with Levinson and Associates. With us today, we have Joseph Loughran, our Marketing Vice President, and then we have two special guest speakers who we are delighted to have them join us this afternoon. So thank you very much for taking time out of your busy days to discuss our lead program with our agents. The first one is Stephen, who actually created the lead program. So he's got some great insight, and he'll give you his 100-foot overview of the program and his take. And then the second one is Kent, who's a very successful agent of ours from Texas. And we really think that Kent being on here is important because he's an agent out there on the streets making it happen, just like everybody that's on today's call. So, to hear it from him, gives a totally different perspective about the lead program. I just think that, me, Joe, Stephen, we can talk about this till we're blue in the face and talk about how great it is. But when you hear it from a real live agent out there that's just like you, I think it brings a whole nother take to the program and the presentation. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, Kent, really for joining us. We know you're busy out there making a living just like the rest of us. So thank you. And he's not being paid for this in any way. So this is truly such a kind thing that you're doing to help our agents. So thank you very much. So before we jump in here, and we're going to do things a little differently, I'll just mention a few things before we start. So we're going to talk about our mortgage lead program and, of course, the lead reimbursement platform. And this is basically a way for you to get your leads paid for by us, by Levinson and Associates. Also, something a little different and new for the presentation is everybody on today's call is going to get a handout that's called the 7 Habits to Telesales Mastery by Todd Ewing. So Todd is known in the industry for being a pioneer when it comes to direct-to-consumer sales or selling over the phone, if you will. So he has put together a great handout that we're going to give to everyone that's on the call. And as you know, we did hire Todd as a consultant to come in and train all of our agents to become better salespeople in general. Okay, that could be any type of selling over the phone for your $10 a month term policy to an estate planning survivorship indexed UL policy. So he really shows you the ins and outs. What we did is we brought him in and we put together a 3-part training webinar. So in fact, we have a slide that just talks about just this. The first part is already done, so you can ask me or Joe. We'll send you out a recorded version. So part 2 and 3 is coming up. In fact, part 2 is coming up next week, and then part 3 will be the first week of April. So you don't want to miss our specialized training by Todd Ewing. In fact, I'm going to host the call, but Todd, of course, will be our guest speaker. But I just think it's so important because, obviously here at Levinson, we give you all the best products, best commissions, best service. And now with this mortgage lead program, that's exclusive, by the way, so no one else can get this unless you're active with Levinson. But, you have all the best products and tools to sell the products. Now you have a great lead program that your competitors don't have access to. Okay, so now you're going to open the doors. And the last part is you have to know how to close these leads on the phone, okay? Because let's face it, if you have part 1 and 2, but you don't know how to close on the phone, then it's simply going to do you no good. So you need all of these 3 things to make everything work together in sync. Okay, so that's the name of the game, and that's really the main reason why we brought in Todd Ewing. And of course, without this great lead program, we're missing part 2. So everything kind of works together, and as you see the presentation, that we're going to go over today, you'll put all of the missing pieces together, kind of like a puzzle. So great stuff to come. We're very excited about this. This is our 4th year in a row. We were rated the best mortgage protection lead program by Insurance Newsnet for 2016. So very excited about that. Paul Feldman and his staff over there has really given us kudos with our program. So very excited. We know the program works. The proof is in the pudding. So couldn't be better. And again, pleased to have everyone joining us on today's call. In fact, we have a record number of attendees. So special thank you to you as well. Okay, so let's dive right in here. We're going to jump in first with our guest speaker, Stephen, who actually created the program. As you know, I'm just going to talk about a couple bullets, and then I'm going to have Steve give you his take, his 100-foot overview on the LEAD program and how he used to actually be a general agent of ours and became very friendly with my father, Kerry, even before I got into the business. So we're delighted to have him join us, and especially delighted to have him share this program with just Levinson agents. So great stuff. So real quick, I'm going to talk about some of the bullets here and give you the overview, and then Stephen will jump right in. So the leads are not shared in any way. That's very important. Every lead is 100% exclusive to you. Now, that doesn't mean the same prospect didn't fill out a few of these mailers when they first purchased or refinanced their home. But they are exclusive to you. These leads are not resold in any way, shape, or form. The minimum order is 14 leads. Okay, the lead cost is $18 per lead, but here's my favorite part. With every order, you are going to get anywhere between 2 and 4 leads at no charge. Okay, so you can do the math. That comes out to a super deal, and that's really just to make up for any issues that you have with a particular lead. So as you can see, the pricing and the free leads are in that chart in the middle of that slide there. And I will note this, that the lead cost has not gone up 1 penny since its inception. Okay, and that's big. We know cost of living increases. We know that business expense goes up every year, and the program has been locked in since day one. So we want to thank Steve for that. Great time to take advantage of this. If you haven't tried the program yet, now is the time. Okay, and even if you have tried the program, let's say that that you're enrolled every week, or maybe you haven't tried it in 6 months or a year, I will say that they're constantly making tweaks and perfecting the LEAD program. So if this does work for you and you're back again, great. If you tried it a year or 2 ago and maybe you didn't have much success with it, that's fine too, because I will say things have gotten bigger and better with our LEAD program. So now is the time. I love this, no minimum order requirement. Okay, so I know some of these third-party lead companies, you know, once they have your credit card, they keep charging your card every week or every month when you didn't even want to enroll or buy leads that particular week. So that's important as well. And also know that we handle all of the credit card processing. This isn't some third-party company that's you know, somewhere in Europe or who knows where. Okay, Levinson and Associates handles everything here in-house. So the way it works, every Monday you're going to get an email, and if you want to enroll for that week, you let us know by Monday. There's a lead form that you have to sign, and then within 24 hours by Tuesday, the following day before we close, your leads will be emailed to you, and you can start calling that evening. And the last bullet here, in number 1, as you can see, okay, we have a lot of resources, a lot of our own personal funds tied up in the program to allow all Levinson agents to participate. Okay, very important here. This is a co-op program. Okay, what that means is you pay for most of it, we pay a small portion for every single agent to participate. And what we expect from our agents is all in any business that gets generated from these leads must be placed back through Levinson and Associates. Okay, and there's a spot check system, and the only thing I can say is please make sure everything goes back through us. We would hate to take somebody out of the program and just because of not doing the right thing. So very important. And if there's a product or company that you think maybe we don't have and that you would need to go outside, please just let me know. And a lot of times we'll have that contract sitting here. Maybe we just don't market it, or we'll have a product that's even better or more competitive than the product that you're referring to. So at the very minimum, just shoot me an email, call me, and let me know what's going on. Okay, so without further ado, I want to introduce Stephen, the creator of the exclusive mortgage protection lead program, and I'm going to have Stephen give you his take on the lead program and how it's been working for him. Steve?
Thank you, Bill and Joe, and especially to Kent. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's a little echoey, but we're okay.
Okay.
Okay, Stephen? Okay, let's give him another second here, and if he doesn't come back on, we'll just move forward. Just give us 1 second. Okay, let's move forward. So he's having some phone issues, obviously. So we'll dive into our third slide, and we're going to introduce Kent, who is an agent that is successfully using the program. Like I said earlier on the webinar, he's been with us for years and years, and he was one of the first agents to pilot the program. So he's been in since day one. So first off, I want to introduce Kent and thank him again for taking time out of his busy day. We'll just start with question 1 here. So we have 3 questions. And what we try to do, folks, is we try to come up with various questions and comments that we hear from our agents that are out in the field and kind of put them together and do the work for you. So the first one, Kent, is how do you open the conversation and start a dialogue on your first attempt? And, what are some of the opening questions? Like, how do you control and pivot the conversation?
Absolutely. Well, it's a pretty natural flow the way I get the conversation going. And just note, everyone, the more conversation you have and the more phone calls you make, the more natural it becomes. So I just start out with a simple, hello, Mr. Jones. I'm calling because you had completed a questionnaire regarding mortgage protection insurance, and I own an insurance agency in Florida and in Texas, I'll say a lot of times, depending on, who I'm calling. And, and I would like to confirm your date of birth, that it's 12/15/63, and your height's 6 foot, and your weight's 215 or whatever it says, and that your mortgage balance is approximately $223,500. So you want to just open up and get right down to business. You don't, a lot of times we want to go and we naturally want to say, hey, how you doing? Hey, just get down to business. These people are busy. We're busy. So it's very black and white to me. You just go straight for the business here. So because what you're doing is once you get in there and you start talking business, then you have time in the middle to kind of open up and get personal with your people. The first thing I do after I start just kind of talking about the points of facts to get the quotes for them is I ask a question, hey, did you refinance your home for 15 or 30 years? So you're kind of getting a gauge, am I going to run a 15-year quote or a 30-year quote? And then I ask, if you don't mind me asking, Mr. Jones, what do you do for a living? I'm just curious, because you kind of get out of that flow of asking questions and then you just go straight to an odd question. What do you do for a living? Because what you're trying to do here, and I try to do, is I try to find out, does this guy own a business or does he work for corporate America? I'm sizing him up while I'm on the phone. And when you size someone up and they own their own business, your conversation is going to go a lot different because you're going to start talking to a business owner who thinks in terms of key person insurance and buy-sell agreements and some of the things that come on the business side. So you're going to go down that path of what do you do for a living, then just what are you attempting to do here besides protect your family in case something happens to you? I know you want to pay off your mortgage, but let's talk about, what you're trying to do here. So, break it down and start getting into why he's actually seeking this insurance. And then, are you the primary, are you the primary breadwinner, or do you and your wife both contribute to the cost of living? Because today, there's a lot of professional families where both husband and wife contribute to, their living standard, which is in a lot of places is pretty high. So if one passes away, then you got to fill that gap. So that's your in for opportunity to write both the husband and the wife. And then, of course, do your children live in the home? If you know they have young children, you can kind of get an idea of, they're looking at college, they're looking at various things for you to price this out and suggest. And then how long do you plan to stay in your home? So, excuse me, I've got some allergies going on. So you want to ask in the end, how long do you plan to stay in this home? So if someone's planning to exit their home after their kids get out of college and move to a smaller home and downsize, then you're going to downsell the whole situation. And when I say downsell, we're all used to upselling, but I think it was a couple of weeks ago we heard someone speak for Levinson that said you always want to suggest, if you got a 30-year mortgage, if you bring it back and say, well, if you're going to sell your home in 10 years, why don't we write you a 10-year life insurance plan or a 10-year mortgage protection plan? And so what they're grasping out of all this is that you have integrity. You're not trying to grab all their money. And so then you can open it up for other opportunities down the road.
Yeah,
So
I like
that helps.
Yeah, no, that does. That's great. So kind of come in with that lower premium and say, talk about 10 years at, let's just say, $26 a month. And then as soon as they agree, and they might say, hey, you know what, by the way, what does 15 and 20 years look like? Or maybe $100,000 isn't enough for my spouse to carry on the way she was living before this happened. Let's look at maybe 200 or 250. There's always different ways to spin it, but I like that approach. Is you start low.
Right.
What were you
Well, I think one of the challenges we have as salespeople is we want to go for the largest number possible and make the biggest sale on the phone. Guys, listen, that's not what we're trying to do here. Just try to close on a deal, because here's a lot of times this happens, and everybody can relate. If you get the least amount possible, let's say you get $100,000 for 10 years, and you get it approved, you say, oh wow, we got it approved, and it's only $25 a month. And because you're so young and you're so healthy, would you consider writing a $500,000 policy for 25 or 30 years? So just get the doggone thing approved. You don't have to have it issued as it approved. You can always go back to your case manager and say, hey, listen, they want another $250,000 because the price is so good. So don't go in thinking you're going to get the big fish. Go and get the little fish, and then the big fish will come.
Yeah, I love that, especially if they're healthy. The premiums are going to be so inexpensive anyway that it's usually an easy upsell. But yeah, Ken's exactly right. I love that. Okay, let's move on to number 2. And I also will say we had a lot of agents that were on Ken's last presentation with us, and they asked, if he was available to coach and kind of mentor. And the answer to that question is absolutely. Okay, if you're willing to speak to Ken, and he's open to working as a consultant for you, and you guys can discuss whatever arrangement that works. But yes, he is open to that, and I'll just answer that ahead of time and let us know if you're interested, and we will definitely put everyone in contact. Okay, so number 2, and this comes up all of the time and with every type of sale. What kind of objections do you typically run into when speaking with prospects, and then how do you handle those objections?
Right, I'm going to move fast on these. I just listed 5, and there's a number of them, but well, the insurance is too expensive. So the way I handle that is, I just come back with a question. Well, I'm curious, what's your price point for being too expensive? So, you're always going to get that objection. So just address it with, well, let's talk about what's too expensive, and then let's again, I go back to downsell the phone message. And Don't try to go for the home run. Just get you a single out of the deal. The second objection I would say is I'm already meeting with someone next week. I've already got a meeting scheduled. The way I handle that is I say, that's great that you're meeting with someone, but my business model is a little different, where I address conversation over the phone, and I don't like to place you in a, first of all, it's uncomfortable, and it takes time out of your day to drive somewhere and meet, but it's also uncomfortable to get face-to-face and be pressured to purchase something. That's not the way my business model works. What I try to do is I try to give you some verbal quotes and give you immediate answers so that I can follow up and I can answer questions without you feeling obligated to purchase anything. So you just leave it out there and say, would you feel comfortable with me just giving you some verbal quotes? And what are they going to say? No, go to heck. I mean, they're going to allow you to give the quotes, and then you're going to have something to follow up on. So, and what you're going to find is you're going to find somebody that goes to their house is more than likely obviously going to sit around a table. We've always done that. We've all done that. But what happens is that you're probably going to give some of the best quotes possible because Levinson has so many different options that the person sitting across from them can't even compete with you. So I would highly suggest you get those verbal quotes to them. The third objection I have is they've moved into their home and they're too busy to talk. A lot of times I'll get a hold of these people and, hey, I just moved in, we're still in boxes, we can't. So I just say, hey, I understand. So, you know, I have next Tuesday at 2 or next Wednesday at 10 a.m. That'll give you some time to get adjusted, and I can clear out one of my appointments. I'll be willing to move that appointment to accommodate you. Which one of those works best for you? So when you're in this business, you never want to ask a yes or no question. You always want to ask, is next Tuesday at 3 or next Thursday at 1 available for you? Which one works best for you? So always go for that approach. Fourth one I brought up, I thought might be good, is I need to talk to my wife. Or I need to talk to
that's
my
a
husband.
big one.
Yeah. So the way I handle it is I say, I understand that, you know, in today's society, you know, both halves of the couple need to discuss, you know, business transactions, and I respect that. So as a result, I would like to set up an appointment for both of you to be on the phone, or, you know, is your wife there right now, or is your husband there right now? Let's get them on the line. If they're not, then go for the appointment and set it up, and so you can talk to them at a specific time. And, you know, again, go back to, I'm going to clear my calendar. I'm going to take somebody out of that position and move them. What you're doing is you're telling them, you're inconveniencing me. I mean, you're indirectly, as a sales guy, telling them, you're inconveniencing me. So I'm going to move some people. I'm going to go out of my way to move some people out of my way so that I can talk to you. So you got to make them feel guilt. You have to put this little guilt thing into the world of your phone conversation. And finally, well, I didn't send the form in. I didn't even send that thing in. What are you talking about? And you'll get this. Well, you go straight to, well, is it possible that your wife sent it? Because this looks like female writing, or this looks like a man's writing. It looks, you know, I have a lot of detailed information here that couldn't have possibly been provided by a stranger. So I'm a little concerned that I have all this detail. Don't start going into what you have, because you really don't have that much, but you've got enough. But just say, I've got a lot of detail on you that would concern me. Excuse me. And so you just start talking about that, and eventually you'll get them to come around, because most of these people do have spouses that will turn this stuff in, and sometimes they're just out blatantly lying to you and telling you, I didn't, you know, because they don't want to talk to you. So you just call them on the carpet. I mean, you just start questioning them up and down, and you make them feel very uncomfortable, because no person likes to be I'm going to say the word liar. So you just kind of indirectly say, I've got all this information, and so let's talk about, you know, what we want to do here. So those are some of the questions. There's a lot more out there, Bill, but those are some.
That's great. That's great. And keep in mind, like what Ken said, you know, as far as, well, maybe your spouse filled out the card. You have enough information on that card. I mean, no, you don't have every detail about the mortgage or refi, but you have enough to be dangerous. So, you know, you can start picking out a few things and all of a sudden, hopefully, they'll remember, or they'll tell their spouse, hey, did you fill this out? And that'll lead to an appointment. But that's exactly right, and I've heard that story multiple times that, you know, hey, we didn't fill this out. Well, there's no computer that created this. So it was either you, your spouse, or a child that knew all of your information. So it had to be one of the above. Okay, and the last one here, this is a big one, and you know, we're as an IMO, we come across persistency numbers and cases that fall off the books, and so this is important, and every good agent needs to have a great follow-up system. So I'm going to just ask Ken this last question here, and I want his take on this. I know what we feel and how we instruct our agents, but you know, everybody has their own little system, and there's no right or wrong. So how do you prepare your client for the underwriting process, telephone interview if there's one needed, and an exam if there's one required? So the point behind this is, so once they agree, everything is great, you want to make sure that that application goes all the way to an in-force status. And even if it's a week or 2 weeks in between, a lot can go wrong. So I know Ken has some good experience with this. I'll let him share.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, and there's a few people that I'm kind of coaching right now that, are in the Levinson umbrella, and they've had a lot of success kind of going about it the way, and they'd never heard of me, how I do some things. But I'm a very hands-on agent. I do most of the work for my clients. It's a technology world, but let me just make it real clear. There's nothing more personal than you personalizing it by doing most of the work for your clients. They don't want to fill out 30 pages. They don't understand how to spell insurance. You've got to kind of walk through everything with them. So in saying that, I do most everything for my clients. For instance, I just simply, before I get off of every phone call, I say, let me explain the process and how it works so that you'll feel comfortable, getting your insurance from A to Z. I make this very simple for you. I'm going to basically need 5 to 10 minutes on the phone to ask you questions to complete the application, and basically you're done at that point except for getting an exam. So I then will, excuse me, I'm going to cough real quick. I will say I'm going to send you an email with about 5 pages that requires your signatures. I'm not going to make you walk through 30 pages of application. I'm going to get you the signature pages that you need to sign, and in the end, you're going to have a full application in front of you to see all the detail. But I said everything you give me in the interview through the phone, I'm going to place on this application. So I write down everything, and I ask them, all the questions, and ideally, everybody should have these applications, the questions in their head, so that if you had a blank piece of paper, you could sit there and ask somebody and get all the detail you need: Social Security number, driver's license number, their mom and dad, are they still alive? If they died, how did they die? Everything. There's only like 15 questions. How long have you lived at your address? What's your address? Their middle initial. Are you a U.S. citizen? They're real simple questions, but I would highly suggest everybody learn how to complete an application without an application in front of them. That's a huge homework assignment, but the more applications you do, the more comfortable you'll be with that. And I say that because once you're on the phone with somebody and you learn how to take an application without having an application, you can be in Mexico, you can be in Florida on vacation like I'm getting ready to do. You can be anywhere and take an application without an application being in front of you. And you can get all that on paper and then have them sign the documents. You've got an application. So basically you just let them know that you'll receive a call to set up an exam, and the exam can be taken at their home. We have examiners all over the United States. You're going to give the impression that you're a big agency and you've got a business, and these exams are either performed at their home or they're at their business, whatever's comfortable for them. And then after that, the clock starts ticking when they get their exam. And that's about a 45-day process, an average time, sometimes 30, sometimes 60. But it's about a 45-day process for an actual policy to be in my hands where I can call you and say, we've got a policy. I'm going to send it to you by mail, and then we exchange money at that point. By the way, I pay for the exam. I pay for everything up to this point. There's no exchange of money until everything is approved on the back end. So that's kind of how I wrap it up in a bow and do everything.
Yeah, that's great. And the one thing I'll never forget, like Kent said, you can be anywhere. Last year we had our expo, and I'll never forget, Kent comes running in, and he's got the client on the phone, and he said, well, I wonder if they have a fax machine and computer like Business Center set up here, and he ran to the lobby. Long story short, he wrote a $7,000-8,000 annual application right from our expo in South Florida, and that was from a mortgage lead. So, what Kent says and what he preaches is really 100% factual, and it's happening because I've witnessed a lot of this on my end. So, great stuff, Ken. We really want to thank you. You're a little under the weather, but we appreciate you taking the time, even though you don't feel 100%. Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for putting up with my little coughing on the side. But everybody, good luck to you. I hope you have a great month.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, let's move forward here.
Bill?
Yes.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm back on the line. I didn't want to interrupt Kent and what he had to share with the agents. And I am very sorry my call had gotten dropped. But if I could take a moment or two and share my thoughts and feelings, some with what Kent was talking about, and just an overview of the program, I'd appreciate it. Okay?
Yeah, we have about 2 or 3 minutes. So
that's
Steve,
all we need.
Just make it brief. Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Sure. I want to add to what Kent was saying that, with e-apps and drop tickets, it's so easy. And I know he was talking about having the clients sign signature pages. And, my experience, and as Bill had said earlier, I was involved with other lead programs that I hadn't developed yet as an agent, and was very successful. And the advent of the e-app and drop tickets are just a sensational thing, because you need just a minimal of information once you've closed it in order just to forward it over to the carrier. What I've always done is, in turn, send an email confirming the conversation and price of it, quote of it, and so forth, along with the carrier's name and along with the toll-free number, explaining that, the process is a telephone interview with the carrier, and then they'll set up a convenient time for the exam. But as Kent was saying, it's very important to sort of walk people through this, because more than likely, and I'll repeat it, more than likely, you'll never see these people. So it's very important to establish certain things on the telephone. The other week we had an opportunity to hear from a gentleman, Todd Ewing, who had some very, very valuable tools to share with the agents. And I listened in on that. And everything he spoke about applies totally to this mortgage lead program. In regards to the people who are listening in today, some of you have perhaps tried this in the past. Some of you perhaps are currently using it, and some of you are perhaps thinking about using this in the future. And, the few things that I have to share with you is basically based on me developing this program, but especially my own personal experience in this market. And as Todd had been talking about the other week, your success on the phone is absolutely connected to your skills, your telephone skills. And, to me, the most important approach about being on the phone with these prospects is to first be pleasant and then be professional. And I know Kent was talking about that, because you have to build a rapport up. These are more than likely people you'll never see, as I said before, And, the questions that you're asking should be in somewhat of a conversational manner. Again, pleasant, but with a purpose of being professional. And your sales, and especially your larger sales, will come about from you listening more than you speaking. So give the prospect time to talk. Give them time to answer a probing question you may be asking them. Do not be in a hurry. You have the phone, you have their attention. Maximize that to the utmost that you can do. And what I have always found, and Kent was talking about being professional, is I never, ever have criticized the competition. If someone come over, talk to them about, or if there was in a previous conversation on the telephone with an agent, I pretty much let that slide right off my back. I'm there to advise people. I was never there to criticize people, or the person they were talking to, because in absentee, that makes them feel foolish. So you never want to put someone you're talking to on the telephone in an awkward position, making them feel like they were foolish or stupid to be listening to this kind of nonsense. But you know, the whole point of this is that there's a definite track to run on, and you know, with the Levinson Group, they give you this track, they give you the tools, they give you the products to sell. And with Todd Ewing involved now, I think this elevates it to a new level, because, like I say, this is a market that is by telephone. There are some people in certain parts of the country that are able to, if they choose to, see these recipients, the people that respond for these leads face to face. But more than likely, you know, in any given lead run, the vast majority of these leads will have to be conducted by telephone. So I say it again to the people who have tried it, who are currently doing it, and the ones that hope to do it in the future. Put that in your mind. Get good on the phone. Get comfortable on the phone. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you, Steve. And again, I apologize for the technical issues that we had earlier. Okay, so now one of my favorite parts of the program, we're going to show you all of the tools, technology, everything that we have put together to help you succeed with this program or even other lead programs that you're using. So great stuff to come. We're only going to run about 15 minutes, so we're almost over here. As always, take out a pen and paper as well. Jot down any notes or questions, comments. I don't want you forgetting about anything. And then, of course, call any of our marketers here anytime, and everybody is geared up to make sure that you are happy and comfortable with everything that we're going over. Okay, the lead reimbursement program, very simple. You write one of these leads, turn it into an in-force policy. We reimburse you for the cost of that lead. That's simple. We have a reimbursement form on the website. Fill it out, put the client name, boom, we send you a check. That easy. Okay, so now what we've done, okay, as a team here at Levinson, we put together a bunch of lead resources, tools that ultimately will help you make more sales, not just with lead programs, but also your own clients, or let's say if you're involved in a local church or temple, you know, whatever the case is. But as you're seeing some of this stuff, you know, think how you can put this to use with your own day-to-day practice, even outside of the lead program, because there's some great stuff here, and we don't charge for any of this. So definitely jot some of these things down, and we'll make sure you're up and running. Joe, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. What you're looking at on this screen is actually some of the lead resources that we're actually going to be emailing out this afternoon. So, of course, we're actually recording the call, but you'll receive everything on the screen, including the frequently asked questions. So a lot of the objections that clients have that Kent covered are included in that FAQ sheet. You'll receive that. You'll also receive 2 different lead scripts. And then Bill had mentioned, you know, we had a call actually last month on the 7 habits to telesales mastery. You know, what we actually created was a little cheat sheet. It's actually a 1-page PDF that'll be sent to everybody on the call, but it's a great way to actually hone in on those telesales skills. And what I really want to focus on is when you receive this piece, if you read through it, you'll see the very, very first section talks about creating rapport and really how opening that telephone conversation is critical, just really keeping in line with what both we heard from both the Lead Program Creator and from Ken in Texas. So this is a great piece to use. It'll really help walk you through that conversation, really help you get more familiar with how to actually make those calls and actually close more of those sales. So again, that'll be sent out this afternoon. A great question that always comes up that we didn't touch on is, what type of product should I be introducing to these clients? What different type of non-med or even fully underwritten products are available? And so what we did to simplify everything, we actually created a section on our website, which of course is kerrylevinson.com. You'll see on the left-hand side there, it's highlighted underneath that product section. It says simplified issue and non-med plans. And then if you look over to the right-hand side, we actually listed every single carrier that either has simplified issue or a streamlined underwriting process. You can click on that carrier name and actually see all the different resources that are available. Look at, what non-med limits you can actually write policies up to. We even have some programs up to $1 million of coverage for clients all the way up to age 60 with no paramed exam. Very quick, very simple, and the premium is actually the same for that of a fully underwritten case. So all those resources are available. I will be sending a link out this afternoon in that same email that you receive. Great conversation piece came up when we were speaking to Ken on how do you actually prepare the client, what do you do after the sale is made, and if you're actually stopping your work after that policy is sold, you're making a crucial mistake. This slide here talks about our agency automator platform, which is available at absolutely no cost to all Levinson agents. And if you look at the left-hand side here towards the bottom, just one statistic I want to point out is that 80% of all sales are made on the 5th to 20th contact. So what that means is, even if that client says, no, I'm not interested, or you don't actually have a chance to give them the quotes over the phone, that doesn't mean that they're not going to purchase the insurance. It just means that at this point in time, you're not able to close that sale. But what that means is you have to have a system to keep your name in front of that client, to keep following up so that you can actually make it to that fifth or sixth or seventh call where you're going to be able to close the sale. And that's what Agency Automator does. This is actually a software tool that we've been creating over about the last 18 months. And this actually helps you organize every client, every task, every reminder. You can actually put every single one of your leads into this platform and set up a drip email marketing campaign, whether it's a birthday email or a holiday email or just a simple follow-up to say, hey, remember me, we spoke last week, here are the different products and topics that I can help you with. So this really helps you stay in touch with that client, which is really half the battle. There's also a prospecting tool that's built into the Agency Automator tool. So even after you finish all the mortgage leads and you've called every single one and made your sales, you can actually go into the tool, plug in your zip code, and actually pull 1,000 prospects every single month that's included in the program. So you can actually sort by age, by zip code, by income, by net worth, even by occupation code. So this tool actually has about 300 different email templates that are built into the platform. So as far as generating leads and activities, second to that mortgage lead program, this Automator tool is probably one of the most powerful things that I've ever seen to help agents generate new business. So we will send out a link and actually give you the training videos to be able to go in and start using the program. But even just investing, 15, 20 minutes a week is going to help produce a lot of activity, a lot of leads for you across all different types of products. So definitely something I recommend looking into.
Yeah, and that really goes for any business these days. You have to have a good CRM or good follow-up system. And, and the proof is just look at yourself, okay? And if you have a computer, okay, which 97% of the population does, then you've received emails for, let's say it's servicing your car or the movies or the local grocery market or, whatever the case is, to say, hey, you were here 3 months ago, your car is now due for an oil change, or hey, you came to the movies, 7 months ago, there's these 6 new movies out, click here to reserve tickets. Whatever the case is, we've all fallen for this and used a CRM in one way or another to purchase or buy services. So you're doing the same exact thing, but it's for obviously insurance products, but it's just keeping your name in your picture, okay, which I suggest on the bottom of your logo, but it's keeping your name in front of these prospects constantly, okay, even if they already bought a policy, because the need to buy a different type of policy or send a friend or neighbor back to you is crucial, and they have to remember who you are. So very important. Definitely use Agency Automator. It is simply a CRM tool that we've designed for the life insurance agent that gives you 1,000 prospects every month at no charge. So that's 1,000 new people to see and market to and share your story. So no excuse. Okay, so with this great lead program, remember how I said earlier, this is a 3-part process. Number 1 is Levinson, is us, coming with the best product, service, commissions. Number 2 is the lead program. You need people to see and share your story to, right? Because that results in sales, as we know. Number 3, so the last part of this 3-part process is you have to know how to sell and close on the phone. Very important. So we have hired Todd Ewing to come in. Now, keep in mind, okay, a training course like this will cost way over a couple, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Okay, so at Levinson, this is free. Take advantage of this. Okay, we brought Todd in live to host 3 different webinars. Number 1 is already done. We can send you the recorded version. Number 2 is on the 9th. Okay, next week, 2 p.m. Eastern. Number 3 is April 6th. And then that's it for now. So take advantage. Don't miss those webinars. This is free for all Levinson agents. And just a few statistics that I'm going to go over with you, okay, just to validate how great this Todd Ewing is when it comes to selling over the phone. He helped grow SelectQuote, we've all heard of SelectQuote, into the largest life direct marketer in the U.S. He single-handedly built Transamerica's direct-to-consumer channel, resulting in $30 million of premium in just 2 years. Executed over $1 billion in total insurance premium. Let's talk about that last bullet for a minute. Built 3 successful tech-centric startup insurance entities. Every single one of those is booming today. So the guy knows his stuff. Well worth your time. Okay, jot down March 9th, April 6th. You do not want to miss. Okay, moving forward here, we're just about done, but this is very important stuff that I'm going to just touch on briefly. Agency Automator, which is what we just spoke about. Okay, we host these live trainings every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's well worth your time spent. And I look at Agency Automator, how important it is for a life insurance agent. It's like driving a car with no tires. Okay, so that's how crucial you having some kind of CRM tool is. And I mean that. Even if you don't use ours, fine. But we provided this for you, and it's built for life insurance agents. Real quick, Prudential there in the middle, Proven Client Retirement Strategies. Great webinar hosted by Kathy Sullivan. Also, one up I almost went over is Agency Automator Plus version. That's the same thing as Agency Automator, but that's used and built for agents that want to recruit agents and build their own downline by using all of our services, lead programs, and technology. So another great system if you want to build your own downline. Okay, and then of course the 2 trainings left with Todd Ewing. I just went over those, but you can jot down those dates one more time. And then last but not least is our Levinson Annual Agent Expo, which is just around the corner now, end of March. That's the 31st. It's also Kerry, my father's birthday. So great day. Everybody must be here. It's free for all agents. We bring in breakfast, lunch, snacks throughout the day, a day you don't want to miss. If you are active with us and you're writing, starting at just $15,000 of premium, okay, you can qualify for at least 1 night free at our beachfront location, which is shown right there in that picture on the right, and round-trip airfare from anywhere in the country. So if you think you're close, just shoot us an email. I would love to take care of your airfare and put you up at our beachfront location for the weekend. So let us know, and we will make sure that you qualified and get you all set up for the March 31st Expo. Even if you haven't written anything, this is free for everyone. It's a day built around sales ideas, networking. You'll get to meet all of our top underwriters, VPs, and last but not least here, we're bringing in, who's actually a personal friend of mine. Excuse me one second. Okay, we're bringing in a personal friend of mine who is Mike Savage. Now, keep in mind, Mike Savage is Tony Robbins, the Tony Robbins, right hand. Mike is the guy that introduces Tony at every live event, okay? Especially, he has this Diamond VIP club. Mike is the main speaker for Tony Robbins. So he's our keynote speaker for the day. He is awesome. He's been with Tony for years and years, travels with him on his private plane. I promise you, the guy changed my life. So if you're willing to listen to him for an hour, he's our keynote, this will be a game changer. I promise you. You'll thank me after. The guy is amazing. Okay, last slide here, and I'll just mention a few things before we end and let you go. We have a few new products and carriers that are now in the mix here at Levinson & Associates. If you want to jot this down, Mutual of Omaha, their Living Promise Final Expense product. Awesome product, high commissions, and we also have the Legacy Safeguard Final Expense platform. Okay, that's a turnkey sales platform for all final expense sales that comes with the contract for free. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We've just taken a direct IMO contract with Allianz on the annuity and life side. One America, awesome long-term care alternative. Okay, AIG's guaranteed issue product now available through Levinson. And last but not least, Mass Mutual on the brokerage side. Okay, we just took out a direct deal with them. They have a great whole life, awesome long-term care product. And now this is great because in the past, you know, being an independent agent out there, when you heard of certain whole life products, or let's say a company like Mass Mutual, who's A++ rated, you know, we didn't really have much to compete with that whole life product. We can come close, but we weren't quite there. Now you have all of those great products on the independent side or channel, and now you have that typical career type of platform available to you as well. So in my opinion, game changer for 2017. It's great stuff for everyone. Okay, I'm going to end with this. As we all know, this is all great tools, great advice, great lead programs, but if we don't have the energy and the motivation and the drive to get our point across and share the story so the person on the other end of the phone line feels that excitement, then you're going nowhere. Okay, we all have to be passionate about what we do. Us as recruiters, you as a retail agent that's out on the streets making sales. So whatever that is to keep you motivated, energetic, passionate about what you do, make sure you find that. If it's a book, if it's Tony Robbins, church, temple, religious group, networking groups, whatever it is, okay, and I can even give you some suggestions. Okay, I practice this every single morning, so by the time I get to work, I'm in that right mode, so I can speak like I've been talking to you for this past hour. So important. We'll end with this. Success doesn't just come and find you. You have to go out and get it. Make it happen. Put your right foot forward. Let's all be the best we can be for this year and in the future. Have a great week, great weekend. Good selling. Take care.